Let's call the meeting to order. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I have one.
Yep.
Victoria Street sidewalk.
Victoria Street sidewalk. That'd be H5. Any others? If not, could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Seconder?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? None? No delegations or presentations tonight. Minutes of the previous meeting. Excuse me. It's not cold, it's just a dry throat. Everybody's had a chance to pursue those. Any errors or omissions? If none, can we have a motion to approve?
So moved. Seconded.
Seconded. All those in favor of approving the minutes of October the 18th, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? None. There's no business arising from the minutes, so staff reports.
So, in the planning department, there was one development permit and two zoning confirmation letters issued, generating $150 in fees for the month of October. On the Pine Resort proposed development, communication between myself and the Pine continued concerning this proposal. And rezoning application Second Avenue, the Planning Advisory Committee's recommendation to proceed with the zoning application on Second Avenue, PID number 303-80067 was approved by council. And the second step is a public hearing, which will be held on December 6, 2021. The building department, there was no report, so which means there were no permits issued in October. The fire department, there was no report, which means just that.
No fires.
We got no report.
I mentioned it the other day, actually, when I was sitting at the
Did
chief.
you ask why? I thought there was going to be at least a quarter.
They just, they'll just say they don't have the people to sit down and prepare reports and all that kind of. We can get run sheets and stuff and calls they go to, and number of calls and stuff. Actually, that can come through from dispatch, who manages that too. But,
So, basically, there was an email sent in prior to this requesting a report, but no answer. So it's not, it's not that we don't ask for it, we're just not getting it, so.
that's what, 3 months?
Yeah. So we're pretty near to that quarter problem.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Under the office of CAO, the signage that nothing fancy has been installed. The marketing levy, so the response to the letter from Karen Enright has been sent, and then she acknowledged receipt. The draft bylaw will be tabled at the December Committee of the Whole for Council's review and discussion. Basically, that coincides with the municipality. We're trying to synchronize. They have different meetings. They have meetings at the end of the month and ours is at the first of the month. So we're trying to synchronize so that they're going to be pretty close to being at the same time being passed.
Yeah, they don't have council in December, do
No.
they? No.
So it's January that they're looking at, so we're in line for doing that.
Should be the chair of data.
Mm-hmm.
Should be the
Chair
chair.
now, you get dark there, yes. It is, yeah.
Sorry, Doug? So, must have been tight things, but you must have been running.
Must have been. Must have been doing that hockey game last night. Who won that game? I don't know. Oh, just curious.
So meeting with the RCMP, so, I met with, Bruce and, Corporal McCauley of the RCMP. So the topic of discussion was around one individual that has been causing issues with public intoxication, harassment, and damage to personal and public property. So in most instances, the RCMP are unable to lay charges due to not getting statements from victims or witnesses. So, that's the biggest issue, is that somebody will say, well, so-and-so's doing this, but then when they want to sign a statement or make a statement, they, oh, I don't want to get involved, and back off. So basically, I basically said that, on behalf of the town, if there was charges to be laid because of damage or whatever that happened on public property, we would be, I would be making a statement.
So this, and I'll add to that, in case Peter knows, so this, he knows.
Yeah.
So this past Saturday, I had a call from Councilor Turnbull, that this individual was throwing bottles at the window, smashing them. So I went in and looked, and I ended up dealing with Public Works, and they'd come in, and Andrew and Keith was there, and walked the parking lot off because he was throwing stuff out his window, started smashing windows, and police went in and arrested him and took him away. So yeah, I wouldn't say, is he out around?
Yeah, he told, the officer told him 12 hours he'd give.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so whether any charges come out of that, just.
So that officer wasn't Mike, was it?
No, it wasn't mine. This is what lives above me, so.
I did talk to the landlord about the building, and supposedly he's burnt the inside of that building too.
Yeah.
Quite badly, put out numerous fires inside that he started. So,
Which building is that?
Two Prince William. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Two Prince William. So,
Yeah, he's on the second floor.
it wouldn't surprise me to see something come out of that, because he's pretty upset, the landlord, so.
It might be something the fire department might want to just do a little pre-planning, walk around that building just in case. Yeah, so anyway, he was.
Call you.
I think he said there's four tenants in that building. So landlord, so.
So can't we send a fire marshal in there to see the damage, or
So, yeah, contact the fire inspector.
can't we do that? Like, get Uber to go through the building and.
Yeah, Alfred or?
Alfred, yeah.
Alfred, yeah.
Alfred, yeah.
Because there were some concerns, I spoke to Alfred a number of years ago with that building and regress out of some of those rooms, because the windows are too small.
It's also the wiring in that building.
Yeah. Of course, the window was too small because the stuff stopped coming out when he had his kitchen table jammed in the window there. It looked like a kitchen table or something. Nothing else could come out. But yeah, so I think it's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you got 3 hydrants around there, so.
Yeah. Maybe we should send,
100 pounds of pressure.
maybe we should ask him to go in that building.
Yeah. Because he did at the time tell me, yes, I should go in that building. And it hasn't happened.
So do we write a letter, a phone call, or how's that?
It works for us.
So do we count, Tom?
Yeah. We can discuss that tomorrow.
The sad part is they move out of there, they move somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
You don't want to take 3 more people
that's
with
the
you.
thing, but it's,
Yeah.
you know, the thing is that particular landlord probably be doing that to this property, he's not gonna wanna rent another,
True
one
enough.
of his properties.
Yeah.
So,
It is, it's an area that's residential and large commercial establishment next to our too. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, spot.
Okay.
I guess that's
It.
That's my report, it's a little longer than what I anticipated.
Yeah, that's a ton of years.
That's when you watch a game like that.
We're on camera, aren't
Yeah, we are, better be careful.
we? Director of Public Works.
Okay, Okay, so, the boys have, they got 4 fire trucks under code. They got the 3/4 ton left to do, side by side in the trailer, and everything the fire hall will be done. We're working with the engineers. We worked with the engineers to finalize the tender for the Racket Road, which closes this week. We've had 6 elm trees cut down. We were finally able to get some good compost from Yarmouth. So we were able to use it in our gardens, and it's actually excellent topsoil. And that's from all the organics that come from here and all the other areas. So, we awarded the salt tender for hauling for this year. Started ordering our spare parts for the winter months. Started working on pricing for next year's capital budget items. I met with Dark, Trails Coordinator, and Tideview Terrace about trailhead located at the intersection of the 2 trail entrances, and that'd be down by Tideview. And we're looking into a joint application to enhance that trailhead for better safety for the public and the staff and residents of Tideview. So wastewater, just completed the daily duties, cleaned UV1, completed bi-weekly water samples. We had all the lift stations cleaned. Jet rodded many of our mains in our heavy use areas. Station 4 patrol panel fell over during that last windstorm, and we had to put a new bracket and everything in place.
Station 4.
By the bandstand,
Okay.
across from the old Wharf
Yeah.
building. On streets, we work with the pavers on the new sections of 2nd Avenue and St. George. And we work with the pavers on King Street. We finished ditching on Thomas Road, and we chipped the brush at the campground. Equipment. This truck is just not working out for us. I don't know how to say it. It's down again, waiting for parts to come again after we just had it fixed again. Won't go past 5 kilometers an hour. The parts should be here this week. Actually said 10 to 14 days, but by the time my report was done, then some of those days had already lapsed. And they went to undercoat it this week, and now the hoist will go up on the truck. So that's the next thing to get fixed. I don't know what to say. That truck sits more than we use it. It's becoming very, very, very discouraging. So, and with winter coming, I'm hoping that we can at least get a couple months out of it before it breaks down again.
How old's that truck?
That's 2015.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, that's new.
That's the new one. It all has to do with that DAC unit. That is the worst thing on these trucks. I know we're not the only ones that have issues with them, from what I understand, but we have significant issues with it. And the last one, the coolant actually got into the engine, into the oil, and we have significant damage on the engine of the truck. So we just don't know how much yet because we haven't been able to use the truck. So
Any warranty?
warranty stuff.
Warranty's up.
Lease that or buy it?
So the 2nd Avenue extension, also waiting for down there. It's just the guardrail to be installed, and we'll be able to open up that section of the road. That includes St. George Street. The Greenway project, I have here waiting for the forms to be installed. The forms are installed, and we pour cement next week. He's on vacation this week. And the traffic lights upgrades has been completed. So under safety, I got the elm trees on Main Street that need to be removed, have been removed. I think Darren buried most of the trees today in the pit, from what I could see driving through. But we still have some issues with some trees on private property. Contractor started one of these trees, but the tree still hasn't been fully removed, and it's been going on for about a month. There's still 2 more trees that need to be removed. So basically, I'm asking that we have these trees, or have these properties cited under dangerous and unsightly, to have them removed. If they're not removed from 1st of March until March 31st, then the bugs that are in the tree become live again. So you can't cut them during the spring, summer, and those months, because when you do, you haul your trees down through town, and they just come out of that bark, and they get in the healthy trees and kill them. I know Bruce has worked on this quite a bit, to try to get this resolved, but I know we haven't I don't think we've served them yet. It's just been conversations.
Well, we had the error, come to us.
And he's just not following through with what he's doing.
Is he an arborist or just
And
trees?
the other thing I have here, he's not a certified
Yeah,
arborist.
okay.
So, I'd like, if they're going to do it, I'd like to see that it's listed that a certified arborist remove these trees, so they're gone. Because they need to leave town limits. They have to be burnt or buried. That's the only way you can kill them.
Yeah.
Because we still have some healthy elms, and if we don't do something, we're not gonna have any elms left.
The nearest arborist would be up the valley.
Where's that guy in Bear River?
One in Bear River, and then the one that I used was from up the valley, because we did so many trees, yeah.
I think it's something we need to work on over the winter. Like I mentioned, Annapolis has a plan. I tried finding it the other day, they just simply call them, but they have a management plan. They identified all the round trees and removal, treatment, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because the bug all of a sudden seems to be roaring back.
Yeah.
You know, it's here for years and
We only had a couple of trees that were affected last year, and this year it just seemed to just go nuts.
And is it possible to, I have a lot of calls and texts about suddenly cutting down trees and everyone was upset. I think I remember you saying that you were planning 2 for 1 almost, for what was
That's what we tried to do.
Could
So,
we get a number of how many you've planted, so Leslie can put that on
This
Facebook
year-
or town website?
I'm thinking we ordered 9 this year, so it's not in my report, but I did meet with CARP last week. I ordered a proposal for 24 trees, so they would be completely funding all the trees if the proposal goes through. Took them to 4 different locations where we planted the trees. Some of them were summer green spaces,
Okay.
and some of them were in the areas where we cut trees down, but not the exact locations. Maybe down along the edge of the rail bed, for example, where we have no infrastructure.
Can you email those numbers to me and I'll put them in the newsletter too?
I can, yeah, okay, sure. I'll
Yeah.
get it down, get Leslie to call him, so.
what type of trees? Like maples or what?
It's gonna be assorted.
Sort of trees, yeah.
Something else that they said they'd like to do is maybe do some shrubs in some of the areas where we have infrastructure. Different berry bushes and stuff like that, just for the public, they could, walking by, you can pick a blueberry and get on your way, so.
Blueberry's not too bad, but, the, farmer's marketplace, or farmer's memorial over there, the cherry tree there, they climb that, they break limbs, I mean,
They
it's.
destroy them. So these grow 6 feet tall, maybe max, and that's it, so. CARP has been really good at work, but they really helped us a lot over the years, so they've been good.
Trees not only are pleasing to look at, but they're also very important today. You know,
Yeah.
trees.
You know,
need
and
to be
I,
planted.
you know, we talked that we planted, some of the red maples and, they're nice,
Yeah.
when they get grown.
We've had good luck, we've only lost one,
One,
of all the
yeah,
ones we planted,
those
so.
are nice trees, so.
Hardy tree.
They are, yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. We used to have, when I first, there was a tree committee, but it kind of petered out at once, just to identify the issues of trees. And, what could happen, but then it seemed to quiet down with the elm disease, but now it's, you talk to the elm trees in their own yards are dying too, and stuff like that. It's become a real issue.
I'm wondering too, it's almost because of the winds we have now, it is carrying that stuff through the air a little bit better too. Right?
Could be.
Because we never really had all the winds, the last couple of years, the winds have been more significant, so.
So you're looking for a motion for the council to,
I'm putting it out there, that it's kind of my recommendation, but it's,
well, I'm gonna make a motion that we, have, a licensed arbiter, come in and, remove, the 3 dangerous trees off of private property.
Or whatever you need to do, or just direction.
I think it has to be direction, tell them to
Yeah.
have Bruce service.
Yeah.
Under dangerous
Yeah,
outside.
because basically, I guess we can go in, but they have to be cited first. And Bruce has been talking with
Shrinks.
the shrinks concerning that tree, and they know, and unfortunately, it's, not them, it's the tree cutter that's the problem.
Well, the one in Bear River, he quoted somebody, cut 2 large trees like that down, and it was a total of $1,500 to take them both down. and peel the bark off and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, which is, it's a very good price.
Yeah, I thought it was a very good price compared to what we've seen,
For the size of that tree is down here on First Avenue? Like,
They're up on Main Street, they're large trees, yeah.
They're huge. I thought they were up there in the thousands.
If that's the same gentleman I contacted for that big pine that was in Jack's yard there, to take that down was $720 plus tax.
Probably the same
So
person.
it's,
Yeah, that's a big tree.
that's a big tree.
So maybe you can, the shrinks could, you could talk to Ed about this person.
Okay.
I have his card and stuff.
You redirect them to them.
Sure, so.
That's a big tree down there. Then the shrinks is over here where the bookstore is.
Yeah.
The bookstore is.
So did we have a motion?
Well, it's more direction for
Yeah.
the start process. Citing them, right, Tom?
Yeah, like Bruce had started, we just,
Until it gets to the point, yeah.
I mean, I think this tree over here was an open file.
Yep.
And
Yes.
Shanks is an open file, that's what I understand. Is there another one or two that I don't know about, or?
there's one on St. Mary's Street.
Which one's that?
I think, if I'm right, it's the Calpine property,
Awesome.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah. Well, over the long term, we need some kind of management plan. I think instead of just reacting every time we get a tree and cut it down, we have to cut it down. I think we need to do some long-term planning. Because there is treatment for those trees.
So we have to inject them.
You can inject them.
Yep.
But that gets costly too, but,
And if I could set something up with Atlantic Arborists, you know, to come in and just explain everything to council, how it works, the injections and stuff, that might be an option too.
Well-
If you come down, want you to do it, right?
yeah, well, reach out to them, see if he's willing to come down and talk to council.
So,
Or just,
Yep.
he doesn't
yeah,
have,
just for example,
up on the big screen.
because next time he's down, he wants to sit with Tom and I, just discuss the remaining trees we have and stuff, and how we can try to, you know, save what we have, so.
Yeah.
So it'd be the same idea for sure, so.
Maybe do a Zoom meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else, Ed, or
No, that's everything.
any questions for Ed? No, we'll move on to the very special constable. Oh, Director Frost, sorry. Where's he? Oh, there it is. It's in the wrong order. It's in the
In his
wrong
defense,
order.
you are quite small.
Stand up.
I am standing.
Sorry, man, it's in the wrong order, it was me. Yeah.
So the statement of operations for the 7 months ended is attached. There's nothing major that stands out. Again, deed transfer tax continue to be high, and as I said before, I don't mention that because it's big dollars to save the budget. But it's just an indicator of what's happening in our economy. That there's lots of buying and selling happening anyway. I don't know what prices are like, but it's hotter. It's still more than last year, and last year was a very big year.
That's forever.
Yeah. So whenever I see any grant opportunities, just try to make note of it, contact them, see if there's any sense of putting in an application. So the Municipal Climate Resilience Grant looked good, up to $100,000, be shovel ready. But once I contact Infrastructure Canada and ask for more specific details, what we're looking after, what we need is coastal erosion. That's been identified in our strategy. Flooding and wildfire risks are what this grant is focused on, and neither of which are really much what we're looking at. Our only flooding is primarily the Racket Road issue from sea flooding, and that one is covered with our FRIP grant and the current project that's going on right now. E-transfers, a while back, probably 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, I mentioned that our bank now is giving us the capability, if we wanted it, to accept or send e-transfers. And we discussed it briefly at the last committee of the whole. So I've prepared an updated accepted payment method policy, which would allow us to accept, not transmit, but just accept that as a form of payment. And we'll get to that, I think, under H2 later on. And the question was asked last committee of the whole about how much does it cost. So for the first 3 per month, they're free. For 4 to 25 per month, they would be $1 each, and then they get cheaper again as the volume goes up. We don't anticipate any great volume of these. This is more trying to put something in place for those odd scenarios where people are trying to get us money for a development permit and they're sitting in Ontario, or they can't get into the office, or that we can take it. Certainly not water and tax payments, which could get very confusing too quickly. But yeah, we'll get to that under new business. The Racket Road erosion project, we've received 50% of our funding already. It's about 50,000 of the about 100,000 we're getting, and prepared the cash flow survey for them, which basically is no spending as of the date that I sent it. And that's still, yeah, Ed probably can give you more details on that project if you want, but we're trying to get that. It's got to be done by March 31st. Gas tax signage report. Every time we use federal government money, whether it's gas tax or through a grant, if it's large enough amount, we need to put signs up. And so the 2nd Avenue, south end portion of 2nd Avenue, is probably going to be over $100,000, and we've ordered a sign to go up there. But these signs are very specific in how they have to be done, and I think our local sign maker is having a bit of a problem getting the drafts correct. So we'll keep trying. Asset management, still a big topic, something that we're getting closer to with our grant application that we put in. So hopefully within the next 7 or 8 weeks, we're going to see our FCM grant get approved, and then we can work with AIM, the Atlantic Infrastructure Management Network, to help us with getting the program rolling. And AIM is a not-for-profit for Atlantic Canada, and by working with them, they can help us, they can help us basically spend the grant in the most appropriate way as to how we working with them, whether it's data gathering or software acquisition, or getting us with our policy written for asset management, getting us on the path. And the financial information return, finally the template is out, and I'm working on that now, and that has to be in by November 24th. And that's it, unless there's any questions.
Looks healthy. Statement of operations looks healthy.
Yeah, we're still, and our balance sheet, although not here, we're still very healthy, but you know, our cash position is good, but it will only take a few big capital projects to eliminate a few $1 million of cash. And we're hoping still for the big grants to open up, and they don't seem to be opening the purse strings on the ICIP, Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. And I don't know, it's been promised for a long time, and then elections hit.
And maybe the election helped it out, but they've had time to.
Yeah, because that is the big one. That's what everyone's looking for and waiting for.
It's just the AIM conference going to cost.
AIM conference, 500. I'm thinking it's around $500 plus the hotel. I don't have the exact numbers. But yeah, I think it's going to be worthwhile, especially networking with the people that are going to be helping us in a month or two to get our asset management program up and running. It's key project, something we talked about at the strategic management level, and something that's also a requirement that we'd be working on in order to continue to get our gas tax money. We need to be working on this.
There's other strings attached. Okay, no other questions or comments?
October to October, house prices in our region up 19.2%, but that doesn't include the previous 6 months from the year before that would have been probably up its own 19 or 29%. So,
Wow.
and they're up nearly 50% in the Annapolis Valley in that same time frame.
Good and bad. I mean, it's bad that it's pricing it out of range for some people. Good that it takes the pressure off the tax rate itself when it comes time for the next budget. But it certainly is a change.
Yeah, there'll be lots of surprises when that cap comes off. And they see what they're going to be paying.
Well, and the cap percentage could end up being very high depending on when they capture the CPI. I'm not sure whether they used up to December or up to November, but they'll be coming up with their version of whatever they say the CPI is, and that'll be the cap percentage. Could be as high as 4 or 5%.
Okay, any questions, comments? If none, we'll move on now to the special constable. Dangerous. Dangerous outside.
Don't want to ask. Dangerous or unsightly premise report for the month of October and November 2021. 10 Cotton Street, still no change. 91 2nd Avenue, this officer had received a complaint regarding this vacant property, as the grounds have not been maintained very well around the building and the concern of an unsecure door in the back of the premise. As the administrator of Dangerous or Unsightly, I have sent a registered letter to the owners, hoping to discuss the current situation on what are the plans for this property. 140 1st Avenue, a letter has been sent out to the landlord regarding a repeat offense, as the building is not having not cleaned up the property. Orders to remedy has been posted to the building, and an administration fee of $150 will also be applied. 89 Sydney Street, I was contacted by the property owners regarding cleaning up process that has been ongoing underway. Due to health reasons, the owner had asked for extension on the time and that had been allotted for the cleanup process. And as administrator for Dangerous or Unsightly, I extended an extra 30 days. If there was any issue to arise to the owner, is to contact this office. Under protective services, there's only 2 points. The CCTV, closed circuit television, all cameras are operating. The installation of the 5 new cameras has been backdated a couple of weeks, and this is due to he's trying to order the antennas for them. So he's trying to put us priority, but he's got to wait on equipment to come in order to start installing. Parking control one morning was given to the new Purelator courier driver who's parking on the concrete sidewalk in the town boulevard. So that's about it.
Questions? Anything to throw at Bruce? Not literally, but I mean just comments or something.
Sorry, I'm wearing my helmet.
No.
One property that's getting bad and come out of Sobeys is that 88 Victoria again.
Yeah, they always get stuff coming and going there.
That's a mess there.
Yeah. Right across from the Sobe entrance.
Yeah, 88.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what they do.
Is that the one that puts the furniture on the porch?
That's the one.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen just across the street, the back alley of, I guess it would be the tattoo parlor. There's a boat now.
Yeah, that's indeed.
Bruce posted it, and I happened to come to town hall early in the morning. The posting was stuck on the front of town hall.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a note telling us where to shop.
Exactly. So yeah, it's
I had that right in my office.
Yeah.
I get it down there and I get it collected.
It's not really so much the boat, but it's the garbage that's piling up there.
Yeah.
It looks pretty bad.
Well, this, young fellow over here at 140, what I was told by Michael, he said he's moving out of there and the boat's going soon. So
Okay.
I'll go with that and see where it leads. And next month I might be having a.
Okay. Okay, any other comments? If none, then we'll move on to new business, human resource policy amendments. Don, can you give us the highlights of why, what?
Okay. So the first policy is the paid holiday policy, 2014-08. So basically, the senior management team is doing a review of the HR policies. We should be doing them at least every 5 years to try to keep them current. So basically, we are in the process of reviewing if the policy is still up to date or still current. There are no amendments and it doesn't come back. So there are some amendments. So this one, the paid holidays, basically the main two items that are, one, they actually added the two other holidays that weren't in our list. And those two are the Truth and Reconciliation Day and Heritage Day that weren't on our list. And the rest, most of the rest of it is, there was a lot of S/he or she, he, his, her, and all that stuff. So basically, I tried to clean that up by using they, their, and so instead of using that. And the other item was to put in that the policy shall be reviewed no later than 5 years from the date of adoption. So basically, telling us every 5 years we should be reviewing, within 5 years, should be reviewing the policy. Just to review it and see whether it's still current. So that's the amendments to that one.
The motion as we go.
The motion to recommend to
Make the changes, yeah.
give the amendments to council.
I'll move that HR policy 2014-08, paid holidays be sent to council for approval.
The seconder.
Second.
Okay. And any other discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? None. Okay.
So the second one was the 2014-10, which is the sick leave policy. So basically, the only amendments really are on page 3 at the top on reporting sick leave. I changed the his, her to their supervisor, and we took out directly, and so it should read, employees must speak with their supervisor by telephone, and we added or email unless the nature of the illness or injury prevents them from doing so, in which case another person must contact the supervisor. And then the next paragraph, we added or email. So basically, the reason that we add email is because if somebody can email their supervisor, but they can also CC their coworkers, so their coworkers know it is basically the same time. It seems to work very well, at least in downstairs in the town hall. Everybody seems to know, and if the supervisor isn't in that day, everybody who needs to know is informed, including the supervisor. check his email. So,
Could I make a friendly suggestion?
yep,
Where you have reporting sick leave, if you have, it reads now, the employee must speak with their supervisor. If you made it to the employee must communicate, that would be my suggestion, and then, because you can't speak through an email. You can, figuratively.
You can, but it's not, the speech should be changed.
What page are you on
It's
there?
on page 3.
it's on page 3 up at the top there. It's just instead of saying speak with, communicate with their supervisor by telephone or email.
And that includes text message, correct?
Yeah,
That's by telephone, right?
yeah,
Okay, just want to
yeah.
clarify.
Yeah,
Because
so
that's-
so
that's how-
basically, yeah, the telephone is sort of broad, that's why I guess communicating is gonna work better, because somebody can text as well,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And the other thing about, emails and texts is that you do have an actual record of the conversation, right?
Would you acknowledge that? Like if I, well, not me, but staff send you, I'm on Eva Command today, you see that you acknowledge, thank you for your email, just so that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they know. Because they might be wondering too, well, did they get it or not get it? You can attach a receipt request to your email, but that isn't,
You can know that.
yeah.
You can hit no for that.
Yeah, you can hit no for it, yeah.
I guess I'm a little bit old fashioned. I don't really like the email. I think it's too easy for people to call in sick. I know there's a problem here when you're working at 8 or 8:30, there's no time prior to that, like 2 or 3 hours notice, like most businesses ask for, but I'd rather see it by telephone or text instead of email. That's just my personal opinion. I don't believe in emailing when you're sick.
It's the 21st century.
Oh, I know, but it's a small enough outfit that,
Well,
you know.
The thing is,
It's pretty bad.
I don't like using text, it's not, text through Bell is not secure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, you can get other programs that are secure, but text through Bell or any of them,
Just pick up the old phone and just call whoever your sick person is and.
but they can't. If they can,
See,
I
I
don't
have
think
one
about-
employee that can't.
Yeah.
They have to message me on Messenger, because they have no service where they live. That's how they message me when they're not coming. So, which isn't even actually included in this policy, if you want to be technical, but I do have a receipt that it was sent.
Yep.
Great.
well, you have a record of it.
Exactly.
I think that, and I understand what you're saying, like, but, basically for us, it's something that, basically as a supervisor, I get an email from some of my subordinates saying they're not going in, I can print that off and put it in their file and say, yes, they report, so you have a record that they actually did. The thing is, with the telephone, yes, you have a conversation, but there's no real record unless you mentally make note that so-and-so called. And the other thing is, I guess, is that, basically, you could get into a he said, she said type situation. And, I called and told you I was sick, and I said, well, no, you didn't. And that type of thing. Email or text, you've got the actual documents that you print off.
And nothing's perfect. You could send a text and not realize you don't have service and it doesn't get sent till the next day.
Yeah.
yeah, because it takes quite a while for it to say not sent.
Yeah.
It can take quite a while.
Yeah.
21st century, right?
3 to 1.
I know you like using text during hockey games, but you can send me an email.
Oh, that's not the same.
Yeah. Any other, but it's a good comment to bring up.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. There's nothing like actually speaking to somebody and saying, I won't be there, so they don't. And you know they know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it just depends on the situation. Right?
There's only an employee too.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they, you know, you wake up in the morning with something that come and, you can't hardly get yourself out of bed, you know. You know, sometimes it's, you know, I've had phone calls from some people that you couldn't even make out what they were trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Right? That's how terrible they sounded. And right then, you know that there's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes, you know, basically you just say, okay, good, thanks, goodbye. So you don't,
And I
I
know
don't
Mike,
mind misery. At least, you know, they may take half an hour typing out an email sending it, but.
I know what Mike's saying, like text and email to me are almost the same. But that phone call, that conversation sometimes put a little pressure on, well, I'm not that sick, I think it will go in. You know, it's easy to send
It's easy to send an email.
text or email and say I'm not coming. But anyway, you have to have faith in your staff, and they're not abusing the policy.
Yeah, rattle, rattle. That works.
You would soon determine who's abusing the policy and not, if it's consistent. And
Well, bottom line, if you're sick, you're sick.
you're sick, yeah. It's not for.
We're reviewing it in 5 years, so I
There'll be something wrong with you.
There'll be something new up there.
And then we'll be able to read your bio signs and we'll have no excuse.
Yeah, we have a chip.
Yeah.
You can say, I'll be here for life.
Okay, if that's it, we have a motion to approve the sick with the amendments.
I will make that motion.
The seconder.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? None, could we have a motion to, or approve, all those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion
Nay.
carried. Okay. Yeah.
For real? Yes? Okay, I wasn't sure.
I don't want to be.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Just wanted to be clear.
Administrative policy on amendments, accepted payment methods. This is another 21st century thing we need to start doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I
So
believe.
basically, instead of amending the policy, we wrote the policy. Basically, what it means, for the most part, all it is we've added e-transfers and allowable form of payment. That's basically all that we did, and well, we had to put it in both all the way through, and that NSF checks, I believe, too, is accept payment for to refund or to pay off an NSF check with e-transfers as well. So,
Might I suggest instead of certified check, you have bank draft listed there? Just most banks don't do an actual certified check, it's a bank draft.
Yeah.
yeah,
Or add in bank draft in addition to it.
Yeah, a few times I need to send something like that, they said, we'll do a bank draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, that's right. None of that is we had that issue not too long ago.
Almost the same, yeah, that's right. They're almost the same thing, it's just the name's different.
Under NSF checks, you have a dollar amount of $25. What if fee changes, you're locked into $25? Can you rewrite that so it's just the NSF fee paid?
We all know what banks do with their fees weekly.
I guess, basically, what do we get charged for
I
NSF?
knew you were gonna ask me, and I can't remember, it happens so infrequently that,
Yeah, it's not,
I might be able to see your bank charges.
I guess we didn't pay much attention.
On the client side, it's probably gonna be significantly higher than the $25, but when you're a receiver of the funds, I think it's a relatively low fee. That's just as much for administration, I assume, on your side as anything else.
Yeah, it's our admin fee over and above what.
Yeah, probably a $5 return item fee is what I would think it would be.
Yeah, it seems to me that's what.
Yeah, it may not be very.
Of course, likely different for an organization like this than it would be for an individual. So, yeah,
It seems to me that's what it was That's what it was, I was doing business with my commercial account, so.
Okay.
So I was gonna say, could you change it to something, the mayor shall be charged a $25 service fee plus the bank fee, so it ends up being $30 or something, something like that.
Or just charged a applicable service charge fee? Don't put a dollar on it, because then you're able to change it to whatever it is at the time.
This is just
So-
our fee, this is just our fee though, it's not the bank fee.
No, this is,
This is
well,
what we're charging.
It's subject to change.
subject to change, yeah, or
It's $5 for
$5.
for us, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any in the,
I don't even know.
there's none in the current year. I mean, this is a very infrequent thing.
Could be $7, I guess, depends on the account type you have.
Well, this is something, if you suddenly see that we're getting dinged $30, $40, $50, we can easily change the policy. So, yeah.
We haven't, that 25 has been there since probably before, this replaced the 2014 one. In the 2014 one replaced one that was earlier than that, and it was $25 in. So it's been $25 for a long time.
What is this cover?
But we're just not, like I said, now, we don't
Not a lot.
hardly ever.
There's not a lot of people that are using checks anymore. It's
No.
all dead and everywhere.
Corporate accounts and stuff, the ones that have moved over to electronic funds transfer, and it's.
I have checks just, because I have to pay my rent by check to a lending institution. So can I do an e-transfer? No, no, you're a check.
We'll keep it. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess we're not opposed to county
Well-
thinks we need to have bigger fee, well, then that's fine. I mean, that's.
Is $25 enough to cover your time?
So
Because,
that would be the question, I think.
yeah,
How much time goes into it?
once you've done it, Matthew.
There's not a lot
No.
of time in that. It's a phone call from Joy to the customer, and we'll earn interest on the account if it's not paid. Anyway, so
So it's not a lot of administrative time.
Royal Bank of Canada bank charge $15, but they might be cheaper than the Scotia. We don't know. Yeah, I do see a $15 one back in 2018. That's the most recent one that I can see.
Okay. Oh, something that. What are your thoughts? Is cut this policy or change it to?
I mean, right now, this is,
No.
we're discussing it, we can just change it, and that's
Yeah,
what.
might not be a bad idea to go with the 25 plus the return item fee.
Yeah, return it.
Yeah, so that way, whatever it is, you've got the 25 that covers the cost of
Yeah, you
the,
can do that. Yeah.
cost of their time and whatever the fee ends up being.
Because it is a phone call, and you gotta reverse it in the accounting.
All right. Anything else?
Nope. When, like, we're doing e-transfers, when someone calls, are they reminded they can do their taxes through,
Yeah.
and utility through
Yeah.
their add their payees to their accounts?
Yeah. I mean, as we all go through all of that, and even when somebody, I think some firms, they don't wanna, do it, an individual may want to do it through online banking, just put us in as town of Digby, or we're already set up as town of Digby tax, so they could, if it's a fee for a building permit or whatever, then yes, they could probably do that, and they could, set that up and send it to us that way. The only thing is usually that takes a day or two before we know that we've got it. E-transfers, you're almost immediate,
Yeah.
right?
And it's dangerous using the tax account or the water account, because then the person receiving it could be any number of people, and they may just apply right to the tax account.
Yeah.
So we'd have to pay special attention to it, because that's where those payments go. People go into their tax account and they put in their tax roll number or assessment number. And that's
So
where
that's-
we end up going.
So that's confusing, that is confusing, because, my wife's tried it for her parents, and we've got to call the town hall twice. She forgot last time, so when you go to pay that, it's very confusing what the roll numbers, there's no account number
On the tax or the
on the
water?
tax when you pay it.
From which bank? Because they're all a little bit different. What
I
bank-
don't know,
what
but I
bank
called
is it?
you once, remember on the number, and then they had to call again, I think they talked to Leslie last time. But there's a number there that it doesn't say what to put in.
Yeah, and we did a whole exercise of that a few years ago to try to get all of the banks, whether it's Royal, Scotia, whoever you're working with, BMO, to come up with the prompt, please enter the first 4 digit of your 8-digit water number. Or if it, in the case of the tax counts, are they 9? Are they 8? I can't remember now. I think it's the 8 digits of your assessment account, or roll number.
Roll number.
And on the statement, it says roll number, and the roll number's beside it. So, like, I know if I went under my Royal, it is fairly clear, but it may not be clear on all banks.
Yeah, the next banks, of course, I only have 2 accounts here, so I just have tax, water utility,
Yeah.
tax.
Because sometimes if you're setting up wrong, online banking, right, so you're gonna set it up to pay your Digby taxes, then you name that,
Yeah, then you just
Digby
click on it,
taxes
yeah.
in your list. And you
Right,
click on that
exactly.
in your.
It's done forever.
It's done
Right.
forever, even your account number is still there,
But I think
right?
what Mike is saying is that sometimes it's not clear what you need to put in as
Right.
the identifier for your account.
That's right.
But please place in the first 8 digits of your 10-digit number. Some businesses would need.
Right.
I think ours is. We tried to get as specific as possible to say, please enter your 8-digit tax roll number, if that's what it is. If it's 8 or 9, I can't remember. Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna look.
I
at
know
mine
she
as
does a
well.
lot of e-transfers, so.
But that's not an e-transfer, that's online banking.
Yeah,
That's-
online banking, right.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, but whatever it is, she does it all the time and she can't understand.
yeah,
it.
if
It's
you
like
could
that.
let me know what
Yeah, I
bank
will.
she's with, I can look that up and just see if there's something we can do to
Yeah.
clarify.
See, my tax account that I said in the last, I have 9801, where if that was assigned by the bank, I don't remember ever putting a roll number in. I just found Digby Town taxes in the payees, and
Right, but are you sure that's the full payee? Like, if you
Digby-
go add a payee, that would be the best way to do it.
yeah.
Add a payee.
The water commission, there's no number assigned to it. Digby Water Commission.
There has to be.
It
When
says
you set-
0000.
When you set that up, there would be one in there.
Yeah, well, mine says 0000.
I bet if you dig in deeper and make a payment, you'll see, because you don't necessarily see it right off the bat. Because I've run into that.
Okay, my last payment, I made a week
Can you
ago.
make a $200 payment to the water commission right now, and we'll see what it shows.
That's a joke, because my water bill's paid for the next year and a half, I think. It is. No.
It is a big credit.
Yeah, it's fake credit, yeah. I'm one of them nerds, I pay that far ahead. So I know what's coming, so. Anyway,
I'll let you know.
yeah, check it out. We need a motion to
I
get
will make a motion that administrative policy
Yeah.
2021-06 as amended
Yep.
be sent to council for approval.
Second.
second, Councilor Turnbull. Any further discussion on it? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? None. Minister War, and that's public housing. Had a phone conversation with him last week, actually ran into him today in Kemple, and have another conversation, all mayors and wards this Wednesday night. First he called and said, what's going on in Digby? I said, well, we got a new fish plant. I said, you had a few tours, huh?
Did you miss H4 road salt shortage?
No,
He's giving
Not
you
there
a
yet. We're on
it's
H3.
just not the H3. Anyway, I just told him what was going on, Digby, new fish plant, a few tours around. He said, good to hear something positive. I said, okay, let's talk about public housing. So I had told him the work that's going on with the groups, and that mayors and wards of Southwest Nova are going to be having a chat. He said, that's good. He said, don't rush too fast. He said, expect some announcements for your area over the the next 3 to 4 months in regards to public housing. And I said, well, what would they be? He said, just wait for the announcements. Yeah. Anyway, he said, yeah, we understand, and we've identified Southwest Nova Digby as an area of our concern. He said, you're aware of Compass and Barton, we approved that project. He said, there will be some more money. I said, well, that's great. So hopefully that conversation is going to be had this Wednesday night. But my suggestion is any groups that are working on it, continue working on their projects. It sounds like it's become a priority of theirs. So we'll see what comes out. He said next 60 to 90 days you should expect to hear some announcements around public housing in Greater Ayr. So the email that was sent out to you and I sent to Tom from Nancy. Has there been conversations with Shift and Juniper House of Yarmouth? Yeah. Because they might be there for advice and guidance or something like that. So.
Well, and even when she asked about a piece of property for their project, I already spoke to her before that and said the process would be get your group's proposal together and then make the ask of council for what they want. Yeah. And that would be the process. And I don't think she would have got that.
Well, she's enthusiastic, so which is good, yeah. But there is a process I have to go through because we don't know if we have, depending on what they want.
Right. Well, they can't ask for a piece of property without us knowing, is it 16 units, is it 8, is it 1, how big is it supposed to be, you know.
Yeah, and do we have that size to accommodate? But it's good anyway, but I was curious about the email I forwarded to Tom. But Minister Lohr seemed to be quite positive that we'll be hearing some good news for our region. So,
is there a current public housing project underway around here that
Compass and Barton.
Compass and Barton?
The Barton School. That got approved when the province made their announcement several weeks ago. They were focused on Dartmouth and stuff, but this Compass was listed in there as getting some approvals and stuff. Yeah. They've been focused on Dartmouth, I was told. Now they got to go ahead for this one. So that's all I know. So
it was kind of frustrating actually because all the groups involved in housing kept asking questions and got no information because it seemed like Compass showed up and put their sign up, then COVID hit and no one heard another word. So there was information gap there for quite a while.
Yeah, you see, that was something that was struck between the municipality, the district, and
And I understand there was a little bit of a land problem there too, they sorted out?
Yeah, I guess some former landowners had some concerns or something, but I don't know the details.
Somebody else was supposed to have the deed to the property.
Yeah, that proved to be different. Yeah. So, I'd say continue working, but over the next, see what they say over the next 60 days or so. And maybe there might be more. Have a meeting Wednesday night at 6:30, so Minister Lohr is at the call. Okay. So, and road salt shortage, RSS.
Okay. So, as I guess we're now aware, there is a strike at the Pugwash plant or mill, or mine, I guess it is. There is going to be, or is a road salt shortage. So we don't know how long this is going to be. And so basically, Ed has come up with some recommendations to sort of alter our service level to a certain extent, but also our standard operating procedure. So basically, he made some recommendations, and what I've done is put his recommendations together in a standard operating procedure, which is called a contingency. I call it a contingency standard operating.
Guess I hit the wrong button there.
I think he wants you to wrap this.
Yeah. So Anyway, I guess the bottom line is that we have to change our process of snow and ice removal, not the plowing part, but at least trying to melt ice and snow off the roads. Where we got limited salt, and basically we're looking at doing class 1 roads with salt, and all the other ones with sand that's mixed with salt to keep it from freezing and help it stick. And also lower the standards to where it used to be bare pavement on all travel lanes within 24 hours of succession of a storm, that it be bare pavement on the center line within 24 hours. So, because salt is going to be at a premium, and it's going to be scarce if if the strike gets over and we're able to get salt again, then we'll revert back to our standard operating procedures.
They were gonna receive a proposal last Friday, I thought nothing's come out of it.
No, I talked to him last week. He says it's probably at least a couple weeks before he has any answers for us. Basically, everything's in the lawyer's hands.
Yeah.
So, because it's unionized and they can't sell the salt because of the union.
Yeah,
So,
can't cross the line.
yeah.
That, one thing we need to do is get this will be a newsletter item. To get out there, just help make people aware, because people that are accustomed to having their streets clear, they're like, I'll pick one, 2nd Avenue, cleared right away. They may have to wait a day, so.
Well, the big thing too is the sidewalks.
And
Sidewalks,
the
yeah.
sidewalks, we'll be sanding sidewalks as opposed to putting salt on.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't know how people are gonna react to that on sidewalks, because we have had complaints about us putting too much salt on sidewalks, and pets' feet and stuff get dogs, when they walk their dogs, their feet get sore because of the salt and things like that, so we don't know. It's gonna be a trial and error type thing.
It's the seniors that walk to the post office or to the bank and stuff that they like, especially in winter time, they like the sidewalk clean, that there's no
So,
safety issues.
we don't intend on, I think we intend on still solving the downtown sidewalks on.
Yes,
Yeah.
all of downtown, everything, road and sidewalks is still salted, because it's got to be.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing how many thousand people a day down there,
Yeah.
so it's got to be.
Yeah.
So,
You're gonna still salt sidewalks on Church Street and
I'm just saying,
sidewalk in St. Mary's?
the only sidewalks I have in there is salted is downtown. So if we finally run into a problem, then, we could alternate every couple storms, salting them. But it's gotta be trial and error, basically, see where we need it.
The longer the strike continues, even if they get a deal, there would be a backlash of order buildup. You wouldn't get salt right away anyway.
That's what he said, there'd be 100 trucks land there the day of, so it's gonna take time. We only got 2.5 loads in the shed, so we tried. We got 1 load before it crashed,
Yeah.
so.
And the nearest one is Quebec for salt.
Yeah, so they've trucked in, it was 130,000 ton to Halifax, and I think they got 70 ton in Charlottetown. So about 200,000 ton, that's the salt they're trying to get to sell to the municipal units and the towns. That's what that salt is for. It's not for any private contractors or anything, so.
If say HRM sells us salt, is that gonna be seen as bypassing the strike? Like,
If HRM sells us salt, it's their salt. So that salt that's in Halifax
Yeah.
belongs to the Quebec mine.
Right, so we won't be seen as.
But the problem is, it's the same, kind of sounds like there's 2 unions, one in Quebec and one in Nova Scotia. But they say that if they sell the stuff that's in Nova Scotia, that they're gonna come pick at that salt pile. So that's why it's in the legal hands now, so.
There's only 70 of them that work there, they can't pick at everything.
Yeah, we know what we can do.
You mentioned the private companies that do the salting, like for the arena and stuff.
Yeah.
caution when we sign a contract, obviously.
Could be interesting.
I think maybe that brings up a question of liability for the winter time.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen when we can't salt, or there's spots that can't salt everything?
Have to warn people. I don't know, I even go down, put my card up, and say, this hill's not salted today, or something, you know, if it's long term or something, but people have to accept some responsibility for when they're out walking. But that's one of the issues, people don't realize that we've done such a good job on our sidewalks and streets, they've got accustomed to it. And it's gonna be different, could be different this year.
The thing is, they will be clear.
Yeah.
The snow and the ice that we've removed will be gone.
Mhm.
So in this winter time, you have to have some sort of caution when you're in the winter time. Right?
Not that many years ago, I remember shoveling the front of the Royal Bank with my father, because you were responsible for shoveling the sidewalk in front of your business.
And some towns are like that, I believe, still aren't they, Tom? Yeah.
Yeah, Halifax, I think, changed back, but there were others, Yarmouth was that way, but there's such a public uproar.
Well, there is, and I would never recommend it, because
Yeah.
my fellow never stopped drinking, so.
I always cleaned in front of my store, I know you did, I'd look over, I'd be cleaning mine, you'd clean yours, and Mike was, so, yeah.
Usually snow blow the sidewalk in front of the house before the plow comes.
Hurt the beet juice.
Well, beet juice, they use beet juice,
Yeah.
some places.
If it was,
Well, maybe we could put some story together and get it out to the public.
So, anyway, I put this together on its, I guess is council okay with us putting this contingency plan in place? Yes, that's what I need to, because I mean, ultimately, it is a change of service level of service. But,
You do what you gotta do.
We have an option, right? You could keep our service level the same, get us all by the end of December.
That was our supply of sand.
right now, I've had three truckloads hauled in. It's actually 35-ton truckload. So we've got 105 tons of salt up there.
What would that, how long is that?
Or sand up there, I mean, sorry.
How long's our salt last, like?
That salt that we have up there,
Yeah.
basically you go through, when we have a regular winter storm, you use one full truckload, so,
One storm?
Yeah.
You got three?
so, it's, that's why the sand's gonna be so important for us.
Could you mix it in? Make it go
We mixed it, yeah, what we did, instead of using the salt that we had there, I bought 4 skids of bags, 20 kg bags, and we mixed that with each load of sand. So we just did use the skid steer, we put it that thick, and with the building, and put a layer on top of it. So every one scoop of the skid steer, 1 bag of salt, and it worked almost perfect.
So when you go with the skid steer to do the sidewalks in sand, are we gonna have the same problem where you're putting down too much sand, like you've done to the salt? Because it's finer?
I'm not 100% sure, truthfully, I'm not 100% sure.
We could
So
start
we've
some
never
sand.
ever used sand before.
Yeah.
So it's kinda like, it's gonna be a trial and error thing to see, so. And if we have to, we'll add additional rubbers to the salters, so just to keep it so it's heavier, so you just put a smaller amount to it.
Okay.
So, it's gonna be trial and error. So I don't know, I'm not gonna say yes or no,
No.
so I slaughter myself saying it.
Yeah. Well, and maybe we can encourage people this year to salt in front of their,
Pitch in.
pitch in, yeah, in front of their businesses and homes, and ones that can, we're a senior town. but-
And even that extra skid of salt that I bought, it's for town hall, it's for the fire department, stuff like that, so we go down and hand salt them instead of, taking a shovel and just chucking it up the hill, right? So, it's just, we gotta serve everywhere we can, so, if it sticks.
Any problem?
Well, hopefully it'll be a mild winter.
Contractors are gonna have a hard time getting it too.
There,
Yeah.
because they can't buy the bulk salt, so.
Okay, any comments? Everybody agrees with this change in policy?
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a short term. Good. Victoria Street sidewalk.
huh?
Do we need a motion for that?
No, we got consensus.
Yeah, we're not changing the policy, it's just a short term.
Yeah.
I got an email from a concerned resident who wanted to know and I'm assuming it was in the budget prior to Councillor Ulrich and I starting, that the sidewalk expansion on Victoria Street was in that budget. So now we're putting in the other piece that's part of the campground. And he wanted to know, quite frankly, why we were wasting taxpayers' money in doing that. So I guess I have to ask how much that could cost us.
Ask the reason why we're doing it first. There's a reason.
Is it okay? What's the reason we're doing it?
Yeah.
The reason that sidewalk was put in there is because of salt water mitigation that goes into well 3. So that's why the curb and the sidewalk was put there with the storm drain and everything to drive the water away from that well, because we had a higher salt count in that well than we were allowed to have.
That's the little hut that's there.
Exactly. Yeah.
From the camp.
So the
And the
cost of
runoff from the road is where the salt's coming.
yeah.
So
So
it won't be a problem this year.
the cost of, that's true, has to be sand, the cost of
Yeah.
that first piece of sidewalk, if you wanna call it, or that phase 2, was that phase 1, remember? That's phase 2, was phase 1 was the bottom one, was it?
Yeah, phase 1 was the bottom one, phase 2 was the top part. and
Yeah,
then you got the-
so that phase 2, that was a 50-50 split between the water commission and the tap, that one there, because we were trying to get the water away from the well. So that was split 50-50, and then this piece here is the final phase to connect the 2 pieces of sidewalk.
It's cheaper to do that than drill a $150,000 well.
A new one,
A new well, yeah, and that's, we're trying to prevent.
And controlled access for a driveway that's in a dangerous situation.
And that's why the horseshoe, if you wanna call it, the big curve in it, so that when you pull up, you're not sitting on a sidewalk looking to see if you get out. So you're already up past the sidewalk for the most part, unless you got a 53-foot trailer.
So it's, how much is the curve we're putting in that? What's that budget for?
So what it is, Matthew? I don't have it in front of me, this one.
A lot less than that.
Yeah, as long as it's well.
I was thinking 50,000, but can't remember for sure. So I'm always expensive, you don't realize how expensive they are until you do it, so.
But if you look at our sidewalks that have been paved over the years, not cement, they're just
Disintegrating.
they're just terrible.
Yeah. That's been a very dangerous piece of road to bring over the locks for a long, long time.
Yeah,
So,
we have a lot of requests when you go to the sidewalks.
yeah.
Ground roof approach, 55,000 for the, phase 3, it's 55,000.
Yeah, I've had inquiries, but I know why we were doing it, so I let them know.
Yeah.
I had more inquiries. One said, well, how can you rent a kilometer to my route by walking in? Good exercise. Yeah. Okay, well, that was the last thing on the agenda. Can we go home with?
Make a motion, we
Sure. Okay.
adjourn.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.